understanding and configuring IP. Before you begin, you must have two virtual machines or physical computers named DC Server 1 and Boston that are joined to the same isolated network and on which Windows Server 2008 is installed. Neither computer should have any server roles added. Also, you must have an understanding of Windows administration. Chapter 1, Exercise 1. Log on to DC Server 1. I have it already running. And as an administrator, and open a command prompt and verify the IP address. And there it is. The IP4 version 4 address is 169.254.47.74. This is because the default Windows Server 2008 installation specifies that the IP address of the host is assigned automatically in the absence of a DHCP server. So the host is using an APIPA address. That's a 169.254/16 address that you see. So that connection number 3 has been assigned an IPv6, a local link IPv6 address beginning with FE80 : and followed by a bunch of numbers in hexadecimal. This address is the IP version 6 equivalent of an APIPA address. Because this server 2008 slated to be a domain controller and also a DNS and DHCP server, we will configure a static IP address. To do so, we type ncpa.cpl. That brings up the network connections. We right click it, select properties, go into Internet, protocol version 4, and manually type the address of 192.168.0.1. Then when we click on the subnet masks, it automatically figures that it's a /24. We've configured the static IP address, so we click OK, OK. We can close this and retype ipconfig and verify that the IPv4 address is now 192.168.0.1. Exercise number 3, we will configure the IP address for the other server that we're using in this lab, the one for Boston. We want the address to be assigned in the case that there is no DHCP address. We want the address of 192.168.0.200 to be assigned. So we will log in as an administrator in Server Manager. We will click Network Connections right here, and that takes us to the same spot. We will right click the connection and click Properties, and then we will click IPv4 and hit Properties. And then we'll go to the alternate config tab and we will type 192.168.0.200. Click on the subnet masks and again automatically assigns it /24 address. Click OK, we'll close it. And then we'll type ipconfig /all and we can see that IPv4 address is now set to the 192.168.0.200 with configure. Also, that auto configuration is enabled. It's checked to yes. And DHCP is also enabled, but there is no DHCP on the network assigning addresses, so it took the default address that we configured. Exercise number 4. We will now configure a static IP address using the command prompt. Open up an elevated command prompt. It would be a run as administrator, but since I'm logged in as an administrator, that's not necessary. And then at the command prompt, type net sh interface IP set address quotations local area connection number 3 close quotations static 192.168.0.2, and then the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0, and press enter. It comes back and it should be completed. Now to verify the change, type IP config and press enter, and there you see it, 192.168.0.2. Just to clarify for exercise number 4, the reason I type connection number 3 is because if we look at our connection, it is named local area connection number 3. Yours may be different, so make sure, or you may have more than one. Make sure you type the name of the connection that you're trying to assign the IP address to. As another example, this is the virtual machine, and that's the connection for it. But this is the actual physical server 2008 box. If we look at its connections, we can see there's more than one. We have connection, local area connection 2, 4, 5. So therefore, if I were assigning a static IP address as I did with that last command, in here I would have to enter the appropriate number of the connection that I'm trying to modify. Exercise number 5. The ping command, the trace route, and path ping utilities all rely on layer 3 messaging protocol named ICMP, which it is blocked by default by Windows Vista and Windows Server 2008 firewall. So let's open up a command prompt. I try to ping DC server 1 that we have configured an IP address for. As you can see here, what's happening, the name did not get resolved. DC server number 1. Let's try pinging its IP address, which is 192.168.0.1. And when we try that, we can see that there is no connectivity, even though that both servers are in the same network. Following the directions of exercise number 5, it instructs us to enable file sharing. for the purpose of opening up the firewall to allow ping to get through. Now, this is what the book recommends. I wouldn't do these on a production server, and actually the book says this is only recommended for a test server because there's other ways to do these. So just to follow what the instructions on the book say, let's go to DC server 1 and open up the Network and Sharing Center, and then go to Advanced Sharing Center and turn on File and Printer Sharing and turn on Sharing Public Folder Sharing. Then click Save Changes, and that will allow the ping command to work now. We will repeat the same steps on the Boston server. So right click and select Open Network and Sharing Center, then change Advanced Sharing Settings, and File and Printer Sharing, turn that on, and then Public Folder Sharing, turn that on, and save the changes. Exercise number 6. Now we will verify that there is connectivity. Let me go back to Boston and open up the command prompt. It was already open, and I'm going to try to, actually this is server 1. We could have tried it there, but let's do it in Boston. Let's try pinging 192.168.0.1 now. As you can see, when we did it before, it failed. After we have enabled file and printer sharing, let's try the ping command again, and now it works. We can ping from here to we can ping DC server 1. I'm going to click on DC server 1 and let's ping Boston, and this one now works. As you can see up here, it had failed before. Now we have no named resolution yet. We can ping the IP address. So number 1 review. A user in your organization complains that she cannot connect to any network resources. You run the ipconfig command on her computer and find that the address assigned to the local area connection is 169.254.232.21. Which of the following commands should you type first? And you have 4 choices, and the correct answer is A. Her computer has an APIPA address automatically assigned because it couldn't get an address otherwise. So answer A, by typing ipconfig/renew, attempts to get an address from the DHCP server if there is one. Question number 2. Which of the following address types is best suited for a DNS server? And as you can see, I already highlighted the answer, which is letter D, a manual address. This concludes the exercises for lesson 1 in chapter 1.